Hello, Dr. Jennifer Young. You are one of the people who was writing on the ground floor,
Yes.
weren't you, in your capacity as a senior lecturer in creative writing at Hartford University. Tell us all about that.
Oh, well, we met up with Helen because she's one of our alumna, and she is such an amazing person. And she had been working on the Comedy Women in Print Prize for some time, and it was her passion. And when we met with her, with Helen Bayliss from the alumni office, the discussion was, how do we recognize the funny women writers? And there was always the plan for it to be a published novel, but one of the things that I really encouraged was that it could be an unpublished novel as well, because it gives a chance to recognize new and emerging voices. And then
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
You have somebody who's there, the finished article, as it were, and then you recognise that there's a process that leads up to that. But in fact, in the course of this, there's sort of even more of a process because, as we know, the winner of the unpublished writing category is going to be published by HarperCollins. But there's also a connection with the university, isn't it?
Yes.
So the runners-up will get something too. So tell us a little bit about the person who's going to be taking up that MA place.
So the person who's going to be taking up that place is Abigail Mann, who wrote The Lonely Fajita, which I think is a fabulous title. And it's a lovely book with a really wonderful intergenerational relationship between a girl whose boyfriend has moved out, which means basically she's homeless, and she moves in, I think she's 86 years old, this older woman as a kind of caring in the community place, and then it transforms both of their lives.
Tell me, fajita, why? How do fajitas...
Well, it's one of the ones that the title was really obvious, because in the first or second chapter, after her boyfriend leaves, and she doesn't really have a great emotional response to him leaving, and she realizes she doesn't really love him, but she says to her co-worker, we used to make fajitas together, it's very lonely making fajitas alone. And so that's the title.
And so does she try to get her 86-year-old cohabitee to eat fajitas?
No, she doesn't. No. They do cook some things, and she does the cooking terribly and nearly sets the kitchen on fire, but she does not. They don't make fajitas. So.
Just tell me, what was it about that novel and that setup and what Abigail did that really kind of spoke to you and thought, actually, there's something here that I'd like to tease out and bring onto a course?
I think what she did was she really captured Annie, the older woman, really beautifully, and you got that she had all these secrets and she had this past life, and she was very spry even though she was 86 and needed someone who could live with her and look after her. And she also captured the workplace very well, because the character is an intern at a app place, and they're trying to do like it's Lover, I think, and it's a dating app. And that environment of a company that has yoga balls instead of chairs, and that was captured very well, and that was very humorous.
So it is kind of a novel of now.
Yes, very much a novel of now. So.
I'm going to throw you a bit of a curveball here. You can, of course, refuse to answer, but if you are there recommending aspiring writers of humorous fiction to recommend, to read some of the writers working out there right now, who would you recommend?
Oh, that is hard.
Actually, I don't know why I said now, because you can go back as well. Why not?
Oh, I think the thing that I find with comedy in novels is I think I like darker novels that have comedy in them, like I said before. So, like Armadillo by William Boyd, Helen Lederer's books as well. So it's a mix of...
It's a kind of wide range across the spectrum.
Is.
You're from America, you're from North Carolina. Do you notice kind of difference in American and British comic writing traditions, and indeed other traditions?
Yes, definitely. I've lived here for 18 years, so when I'm writing, I often have to go on Facebook or something and say, if I'm writing something set in America, and say, I don't remember what the word for this is. What do I call this? And it's sort of like Bill Bryson's Notes from a Small Planet, or a Small Cut Island, and the other one, I can't remember the one that he goes back to America. But yes, there's definitely a difference in humor, and I think people like David Sedaris and Amy Sedaris have a very American-style humor, but David Sedaris is interesting because he's lived in Europe as well. But yes, I think there's less sense of the embarrassing part as being... I think the embarrassing part is much more part of British humor,
sort of social faux pas.
Yes. So I had to write, we all had to write a 100-word story for the Telegraph. And I was talking to one of my coworkers at Falmouth, and I said, I just don't know what to say. That's something funny that's happened to me that relates to being a woman. And he said, just do your most embarrassing moment. And I thought, okay, that's what I'll do. So,
well, you're going to have to tell us now.
Yes. So when I first came to the UK, it was in 2001, and I did my first reading. I came to do an MA. And I had written a story that was a very serious piece about this woman who was kind of boxing up her past, and she was using rubber cement, which is an adhesive in America that you apply with a brush, and it smells very strangely. And everyone laughed. The whole time I was reading, they kept laughing, and I thought, what am I doing? I'm doing something terribly wrong. And then when I sat down, they told me that because my accent was so much stronger then, they thought I was saying rubber semen, not rubber cement, because they couldn't hear a T. So...
I see. And well, I can see why that would raise a smile. But it did give you a rather awkward rewrite.
I actually never went back to that piece. That was it outed once.
If you'd said cement, would they have laughed at all?
No, they wouldn't have laughed.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.